Alright, welcome to Make a Path Presents. We're moving over to Daryl. If you're new here, we did a video with Rick, Michonne, Travis, Madison, and we're on Daryl now. Excuse me, little Daryl. Little Daryl is holding Big Daryl up because if I was anywhere near McFarlane Toys right now, any employee, I would punch them in the gut. Because this figure, it was like the redemption song in my eyes for McFarlane Toys for the Color Tops line. I think there's been so many problems that are outweighing some of the positives, and I'm really in love with some of the positives, like the details. You know, I think they're doing a fantastic job with that. However, this is the third figure I've owned of Daryl. I had to return the other two for multiple reasons because this was completely missing. There was just a little square hole in his butt. The wrist right here, that just broke off one of the figures out of box. I took him out of the box and his wrist just fell down. And it looked like the little peg there, somehow it got squished because it was all bent up. And there's such a fragile little peg there, you need to be easy. And let's get this out of the way in the beginning. If you buy DARYL DIXON and you don't even look at the box and you go to put him holding his crossbow, look at how he holds it. The crossbow does not tuck under his arm. I started doing that when I was first putting them together, but I could not figure out why he's not holding it right. You need to do it like this. You can't do it any other way. Now you can, and you can put them in different positions to get a clear shot, but if you want to put them on the shelf and have it not look stupid or have the sculpt not look all messed up and deformed, then you can really only put them in this position. Now Daryl comes with the crossbow, the base, and the zombie head. I think he comes with the most accessories. I mean, Madison comes with the hammer and the fire extinguisher, but it's a fire extinguisher, am I right? I mean, it's a hammer and a fire extinguisher, so the head is cool. Oh, what I was saying about the figures, though, as well as the pieces breaking and the missing pieces and everything like that, the figure does not want to stand. I mean, it does not. I even heated his legs up. I tried to get that gap closed, and this gap has been the worst. Every single figure, they had a whole peg of DARYL DIXONs on the shelf, and every single Daryl had these horrible gaps. You can literally see right through his legs on almost every figure there, and there was only like 2 or 3. I had to go with one of the least worst gaps, but it's still there, and I can't do anything to correct that. But I had to go with them because all the other good ones were broken, either missing the stuff. I think the one I returned was missing this, and then the other one had a broken arm. It was just silly as shit, but he does not want to stand. He will constantly do this. It's like the weight of the figure weighs down the ball joints. Now on the other figures, they didn't do articulation in the ankle. So I'm wondering why they did it for Daryl, because once they finally do it and they don't allow him to move at all, because they put articulation there that you can't really use, he just falls over, you know. Look, we got him good, and he'll slowly topple over time. So that is really annoying. But here's the positive thing. If you're a Daryl fan, pick him up. I will tell you right now, he is amazing. It's literally like they shrunk a Norman Reedus down. I mean, I don't know if that's actually looking well. That doesn't look well on my little monitor here. That doesn't look as good as it does in hand. He looks fan-freaking-tastic in hand. I was so damn disappointed, though, because the paint job on the figure I had to return that was broken was so incredible. I almost just kept him. I was going to glue his hand back on, and I should have. I honestly should have just glued his hand back on and kept him, but I didn't want to do a review with a broken figure. I thought that would just look horrible, so I should have just kept him, though, because his likeness was great. Now, it looks like there's supposed to be a little bit of sweat on the front. Everyone makes fun of this because it's like they forgot. I don't see why they didn't just do a couple brushes in top and make it look like it was kind of everywhere, because it does look like an unfinished paint job having a little bit of gloss on the tip of his hair, you know? And it doesn't even translate well to sweat. If they would have just done his hair in all matte and not glossy, it probably would have been fine. But he's got a really good likeness overall, his entire body. Now these cuts, they are ugly as shit, and I just don't believe that. I don't believe them that they think those lines on his arms are much better looking. They might be a little better looking, but it doesn't matter if you have this or that. It's a distraction, and it's noticeable. So in my opinion, if you're going to do anything like, help me out a little, Daryl, like that, just put articulation on the damn thing. With that said, before we move on, take a look at the difference between the 5-inch, which was also hailed as one of the worst likenesses for DARYL DIXON. This is, I forget the series, but this is one of the worst likenesses they've done on Daryl. That's pretty bad. They got smart and released him with a bandana back there. You can see the bandana covering his face. That's actually one of the best DARYL DIXON figures. But now that we have this 7-inch, this 7-inch is king. It is fantastic. Now the detail on the clothing, they still did a really good job with the 5-inch, but the 7-inch just blows it out of the water. DARYL DIXON's other accessory, the zombie head, let's take a quick peek at it real quick. Very nice paint detail. Now this is, I matched this up to the the prototype. They were supposed to come out with a DARYL DIXON figure that came in a box packaging, collector's packaging, with a this guy basically. It was essentially him with the cross and the head, and it actually pulled out a cardboard display with his motorcycle, and that was going to be the new series, which I thought was a fantastic idea. I still want that prototype as collectible because I was in love with that idea. I thought it was genius, but they scrapped it and went with these bigger figures. In doing that, they went ahead and released the zombie head. If you compare this to the promo images that are out there, this is literally the exact zombie head, just upscaled for the 7-inch figures. So that's pretty cool that we still got the zombie head, to be honest. The 7-inch is just incredible. Let's take a quick look if you want to. Here we go. You see his everything. The vest here, all that detail. Fantastic. And this vest, if you really wanted to, you can heat it up and take it off. It looks a little funny with it off, but you can tell there's a vest that belongs on this figure if you take it off. But you can get away with it a little bit. So, and you got some really nice detail in the crossbow. Again, because it's bigger, so you can see more detail with the crossbow. We're going to take it out of his arms, though. Let me be careful, though. Like I said, this hand, if you do pick up Daryl, be super careful, because this hand, I'll warn you now, it's fragile. It is very fragile, but that's how he comes. He comes holding his arms like that, and you need him to hold his crossbow, which is disappointing. I mean, I wouldn't mind being able to put a shotgun in his arms or something like that, but what are you going to do? And his arms move like this, and the only reason I feel that these arms do move, because keep in mind with Michonne, they didn't do that with the elbows. The elbows, it's all one, you know, there's no cuts in the elbows. The reason I think they gave Daryl a cut is so you can actually work the crossbow in there. Without needing to do that, they didn't have to put a cut in there. And his shirt, his vest I should say, is pliable, so you could take it off, and you can see when you start taking it off how it'll look fine for the most part. It has a really wet looking, greasy, they did a great job. I'm telling you what, with the clothing, McFarlane Toys does a wonderful job. Clothing and weathering, they do a fantastic job, but you can tell because the vest tucks in under his fold here, if you see that, it tucked in right there, and right here. Let me tuck that in there. See? Without doing that, it looks out of place when you take the vest off, so you'll notice little things like that. But look at the detail. Let me get this thing to focus. Look at the detail in his pants as well. You can't get that detail on the smaller figures. It looks like jeans. See that? Let me get really close. See that? That looks like a pair of jeans. That detail, that texture, it's actually on the figure, and it's fantastic. Doesn't that look like jeans? I think the detail is incredible. You have his knee poking out there, and then the shoelaces. I think he tied shoelaces around his legs. I never understood what that was about. And then you get ball bearings on his feet. So, amazing Daryl figure. Here, take a look at his pants in the 5-inch. Still a great job, but if you notice, there's just that finer detail that makes the bigger figures incredible. Now, the thing with this 5-inch Daryl, I think this is probably one of the best articulated figures. Him and Comic Series 2 Governor, if I'm not mistaken, they have some of the best articulation. For a walker, I think the Riot Gear walker, the one with the, not the gas mask, the other one, I opened him for my daughter. She wanted to play with a zombie, and he has really damn good articulation for a walker. If you're new to collecting, go ahead and pick him up. This Daryl has articulation in his shoulders, his elbows bend, his wrists not only bend, but they also swivel, and then you have his head. He can look everywhere, and I'm showing you this for a reason, so bear with me a second. He can do the Jean-Claude Van Damme karate splits. He can do the kicking out, kicking back. He can bend his knee. He has articulation in his foot there, and the best part is, not only can he twist at his waist, but he also has an ab... No, does he? No, it's not an ab crunch, but it's like a little ball bearing in his ab. So it doesn't crunch all the way, but you do get movement. You do get a little crunch, but you also get a swivel, and that's not his waist. Here's his waist. But you also get that swivel in his top. So he can do this moving around. There's not much there, but... You get on, and I'm over exaggerating just to show you he can move his waist and the top here. And the reason I'm saying that is because he's such a well articulated figure. You can sit here for a good half an hour. Maybe you have a half an hour in your office and you have a little Daryl shrine or something, or lunch break, or you just want to kill 10 minutes without anyone bothering you at work. You can actually move this guy around, get him in a neat or funny pose at work or in your home, display, anything. Get him in a nice little pose. Do whatever you want with him. If you're a kid, you can play with him, and he's going to jump over cliffs or get beat up, get shot. I mean, this freaking guy, you could probably do anything. I forget what the hell I used to do, but I know when I was little, I always used to play with the G.I. Joes because you can do anything with them. You can do karate, you can do explosions, you can have them get shot. They're articulated as hell, so between kids, people who pose them for dioramas, everybody, and I feel like a broken record, but if you took the detail of this Daryl and combined it with the articulation of this Daryl, you would have something that would be incredible, for collectors. I firmly believe that. Now, even though it'll be incredible, will it be worth it value-wise to the company? That I honestly don't know, and I'm not going to pretend like I do know. But I just want to say, if you combine these two, you can get something that's just amazing. So let's move over to my overall thoughts and opinions. A lot of what we discussed will be summed up, like the articulation thing. But let's move over to that video. I'll see you guys in that one. Check the eye up here. I'll try to put a playlist link for the review room or the next video coming up or the video previous. I'll try to put as many as I can in that list.
Subscribe now.